Welcome to the Intentional Excellence podcast, where we focus on inspiring stories, impactful strategies, and intentional choices that elevate lives. I'm your host, Candice Ruggiero. I'm a keynote speaker, a podcast host, and founder of Nevada Global Connection Firm. Whether you're here for personal growth, professional insights, or just a dose of inspiration, you're in the right place. January is almost over, but we are still bringing you incredible guests as part of our January series, Purpose Driven Men Making a Difference. Tonight, I am thrilled to welcome Devin Schubert. Did I say it correctly, Devin?
You did?
And he is an internationally acclaimed coach, speaker, international best-selling author, and a multiple award-winning entrepreneur. His journey to success has been nothing short of remarkable. From standing out among over 100,000 applicants on two reality TV shows for entrepreneurs, to sharing stages with legends like Eric Thomas, Pat Quinn, and Willie Robertson, Devin's accomplishments are truly inspiring. In addition to his professional success, Devin is on a mission to help a million people share their stories across social media through his newest show, School of Influence. But perhaps his most profound achievement is his personal journey as an adoptive father of three children, a testament to his dedication to transforming lives both professionally and at home. Devin, welcome to the Intentional Excellence podcast. I'm honored to have you here in my show. How are you, Devin?
I'm doing well, and thank you very much for having me and excited to be able to dive into stories.
Are there any more things that you want to add that I probably forgot to mention in introducing you?
No, you did great.
Thank you. All right. Again, thank you for accepting my invite. Glad you're here. All right, let's start. So, Devin, the first topic is we're going to talk about the power of storytelling. Your mission to help a million people share their stories is truly remarkable. Like, storytelling is such a powerful tool to create influence and connect with others. Devin, how did your own journey and the challenges you face inspire you to focus on storytelling as a way to create influence and help others make an impact?
Yeah, my journey started with just the normal life of being able to grow up in a great home with great parents, and I stepped into ministry. I began planting churches. I began starting ministries out. I started youth ministries. I reached out to kids that were in the hood, and that was really my passion. I just always had a heart to be able to reach people and meet them where they were at. And through those times, I grew so much in my leadership and recognizing that every person's heart matters. Every person's story, every person's message, every person's purpose matters. And it was through those wonderful times of helping plant churches, helping start ministries. I was also a social worker for 15 years, and so I dove into all across the state of Iowa of helping families be able to overcome abuse and trauma and those types of things, as well as I recognize that the Bible says that we're supposed to be taking care of the orphans and the widows.
Yes.
Well, I wondered why the system kind of was broken, but then I recognized that, well, if we're supposed to be doing it, then we're supposed to be doing it as a church. And so I
Yes.
did that. I started a foster care system through the churches and got it legalized across the state of
Mhm.
Iowa. And so that began to help people recognize that we all have a story to be able to tell and that everybody needs and deserves a chance to be able to get there.
That's exactly why you're here because of your passion for storytelling. And Devin, storytelling has become also the cornerstone of how I connect with my audience and followers. Like whenever I speak, Devin, I focus on completely being authentic, sharing my ups, my downs, and my triumphs, and my challenges as well. And I vividly remember the first time I decided to open up about my personal struggles and successes. I was a bit nervous because I wasn't sure how people would react, but the response was overwhelming. people told me that my vulnerability and honesty inspired them. And that's when I realized the power of storytelling. So every time I speak now, I kind of don't hold back. Of course, there's still some limitations of, when it comes to how much I will say, but I when it comes to sharing lessons, I don't hold back. Whether it's a moment of my failure or my victory, I take what I've learned and I deliver it to my audience, Devin. And in those moments, my true authentic self comes out. And honestly, that's where the magic happens. Storytelling allows me to really show others that they're not alone. And let's face it, we all experience challenges, triumphs, and like moments of doubts, right? And it's through these shared experiences that we can really empower others to feel seen, heard, and valued. So every time I like turn on my camera or speak, my goal is in everything that I do, whether speaking, podcasting, or connecting on social media, really is to inspire people to embrace their own stories and find their strength, right?
Yeah, that's great.
Beautiful. And I love that you're doing that. Nowadays people look for something that they can relate with, and it's
Hmm.
through their stories,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So let's the second topic is, of course, overcoming life challenges. Like, I don't know anybody who really have not gone through a challenge in their life, right? So
Yes.
Devin, you've shared that one of your adopted children brought you to your deathbed, and
Hmm.
you were given only 3 months to live, yet you miraculously healed, and now you inspire others with your resilience.
Hmm.
Devin, can you share more about that experience and how it shaped your perspective on life, maybe resilience, and the mission you're pursuing today?
Yeah, absolutely. So even though things seemed like they were good, even though it seemed like, we were planting ministries, I was married, had three adopted children, and life was really good.
Yeah.
Until I came home one night from a ministry event and found my now ex-wife with her boss. And she decided that she didn't want to be together anymore. And
I'm
that
sorry.
began to take my entire journey and flip it upside down. And as you can imagine, with the kids that have been adopted, they went through some re-traumatization, some re-triggers of just not feeling loved, not knowing who was going to be there. The
Yes.
consistency was gone. And so over the next few years, we had 50-50 custody, and we ended up, being able to figure things out of helping the kids, even though we were in separate homes. But one of our sons ended up having some pretty significant behaviors because of it. He began getting very aggressive, began
From the
acting on
changes, from like
from the
the
changes.
changes.
Yep, from the changes, as well as from we he had some prior abuse before we had adopted him. At this point, he was, probably 9. They were probably 8, 9, and 12 at this point. And because of that, my ex-wife couldn't contain him anymore, and so she
Okay.
kicked him out of the house, and I took him on full time.
Wow.
And so, even though I had left my social work job, I had lost all the ministries because of the divorce. I had started up 2 moving companies. I had joined
Okay.
in with a team, and we built up 2 7-figure
Wow.
businesses through that really, really quickly, building up a team. And I would have to leave pretty much every single day to go to the school to be able to help him, to be able to calm him down. And you just can't survive like
Of
that in
course.
business. And so throughout the next couple of years, I tried to get all the help that I could. Spent
Okay.
close to $100,000 trying to get help. And even though I had worked in the social work, I had worked with all the judges and the attorneys, nobody could help us. And we went to Chicago, and we went
Okay.
through a place called Amen Clinic, and they do what's called a brain spect scan. And what that does is it scans your brain, and it shows you how the neural pathways are going. And I won't get
Okay.
super scientific, but it shows how your brain functions. And it showed for him that his brain was lacking because of the trauma that had happened. They weren't firing correctly and they weren't receiving correctly. And the second thing that happened was that I had some scans, and it showed that I was struggling
How
with
did you find out? How did you
with what?
find out that that you had it too?
So a part of that was that we both went in, we both had consultations, and
Okay.
because of the trauma, because of the aggressiveness that he had, and me not sleeping at night, me having
Okay.
27 cameras around the house, we ended up starting not to be able to go anywhere. I would lose my friends, I would lose relationships, my family didn't want to come around, and so they recognized different tendencies that I would have. Of I was diagnosed with CPTSD, I
Okay.
had insomnia. I even when I wanted to sleep, I couldn't because I was so anxious, and then I would get depressed. And so they ran these scans to just see,
Okay.
what was going on. And the woman, the doctor there, the psychologist said that, if you don't get help in the next, 3 to 6 months, you're not going to make it. Like, you have got to get help. And so
First,
she,
before you can help others,
yeah.
you have to help yourself first.
Yes. Yeah. And so she testified in court and all those things, but nobody was able to help us. Ended up moving 3.5 hours away, and things got drastically worse. We moved because it felt like the Lord was calling me to move, and He said that He would help us, and things got worse. And it was every single day the police were at the house helping restrain, and it would take like 7 officers to restrain him. And one night I made my first mistake in those 5 years. And I walked outside to let the dog out, came back in, and I recognized that a knife I had was left on the counter was no longer there.
Oh no. What
And so I
happened?
went to the door, his bedroom door, and I asked him if he had it, and he said yes, and he said he was going to kill me, which wasn't the first time they had said it, but I always had everything locked up. I was super hyper vigilant. So I called the police, they came, I ended up going outside, sitting on the bench. They went in. He handed it to them. We went to the hospital like we do after every single incident.
Okay.
And this time, when I got to the hospital, the next thing I know is I was waking up on the hospital bed, and this was the first
From
time
what? From being
anything had happened.
okay.
The doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. I was physically healthy. My blood work was good. They had no idea until they read my reports from the psychologist, and they diagnosed me with what's called trauma shock. And so my brain and my nervous system stopped communicating because of the amount of trauma that my body had endured,
Yes.
and I would just shake convulsively. And they decided that there's really nothing we can do with this. So we would just want to put you on
Right.
24-hour watch. We want to put you into a treatment facility, and well, you're not going to make it another 3 months. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me. Like, I fought for 5 years to get my son into a treatment to get the help that
Right.
he needs. And now you want to put me into a facility? No, I'm not. So
Did you have a choice to say no?
I did. They couldn't force me to
Okay,
stay
all
there.
right.
Yeah. Because I would have had to voluntarily be
Yes.
committed into that. And I refused. And so I went and stayed at some friend's house. They allowed me to stay in a spare bedroom that they had, and I would literally be up or be in bed for 18 out of 24 hours. If I was
You were in
up for more than
depression.
five
Yeah.
minutes, I would collapse. Um, and so my body just couldn't handle anymore. And so I was laying in my bed one night, and I didn't really have anything left to live for.
Yeah.
My kids were taken care of by my ex-wife. Our son was in a treatment, getting the help that he needed. I didn't have a job. I didn't have ministry. I'd given everything that I had. The only thing I had was a trailer and a little tiny moldy house that I was renting.
Wow.
And so I just said, I'm done. Like, I'm done, God. I don't have anything left. And that night, as I was laying in my bed, pitch dark, I was laying on my back, and I felt this presence enter into the room.
Yeah.
And from the foot of my bed, this like silhouette came around to the side of me, and I just felt this peace, this
Right.
rest about me. And it was Jesus. And Jesus
Yes.
said to me, He said, it's not time for you to come home yet. It's not time because you're going to go through, you're going to tell people your story. You're going to tell people the transformation that we are doing
Right.
together. And he said, because you left the 99 to save the one, now I'm going to give you the 99 to go to the nations and tell your story. And he gave me a co-mission. So it wasn't just that I'm going to go and share my story.
Yeah,
It's that he's going to go with me to share my story, and
that's
he's going to give
beautiful.
me the 99, which is the 1 million people, to help them and me and us share our stories to the nations. And so that's where the whole thing originates from,
Wow.
is that Jesus said, I'm going to go with you to do this. Who am I to say no, even though I
You
don't
can't.
want to?
You can't. You know, Devin, when you shared about that moment when you saw a silhouette, you saw Jesus, I deeply resonate with that because I don't know if you know that I'm a widow. I lost my husband a year and maybe a few months, and I've been an educator for 30 years.
Mm,
And my ultimate goal was to lead a school as an assistant principal or principal. And like exactly what you said, when God calls you
mm,
to step into another path. You can't say no. Exactly what you did. I just found myself on social media one time, and then there was a keynote speaker through a sponsored ad, and I just brought me to just go to her webinar, and right there, as soon as I watched it, I registered, and it completely changed my life.
wow.
Just like, and then I still, I have not been back after 30 years, and I've had two master's degree and still has a little student loan paying for it. But you know what? Like what you said, when you are being called, you can't say no.
Yeah.
And I thought I would be okay just to be a keynote speaker. But then my path kept opening to more direction. Now I'm
Mm.
podcasting. Now I have a live show. Do you know what my live show is all about, Devin?
What's that?
Love. It's
Love.
Candice Ruggiero Love Speaks. It's a weekly live show streamed all over social media because for some reason I was put in a path wherein I wanted, he wants me to talk about love for yourself, uplifting others, and global compassion, which we badly need at this
Yes.
time.
Yes.
And I thought I'll be happy with just being a speaker, but no, I think I'm touching more lives globally by
Yes.
doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And now, just like you, I decided I still can't forget that I'm a teacher, right? A
Yeah.
part of me. So I came up with, um, a, my own firm, which is Global Connection Firm, where I empower teachers globally, especially, like third world countries or the less fortunate countries, because I just want every child to have access to education. And that's why I truly resonate with your story. Thank
Yeah.
you for sharing. And like you know what, sometimes God brings you down so low in your life, right?
Yeah.
And then because he's preparing you for something bigger.
Yeah.
Without those challenges, like I've been through a lot of challenges for the past year, but I take it as a way for me to strengthen myself,
Mm.
and it's also the stories that I share with others.
Yeah.
Those things that brought me down are the exact stories that I'm sharing with others. And I just want to say thank you. I love your story. And as a teacher, and you being sort of like a father to like four kids, right? You said four kids?
Three kids.
Three kids. It's not easy. When I moved to Florida, I was in a Title One school, Devin, and I had students who are from the foster
Mm-hmm.
system. I used to be from New York, Connecticut, and that wasn't really a big thing. So when I moved to Florida, I
Wow.
actually had students who were in the foster system or who were adopted. And like what you said, it's not easy. They go through a lot of mental challenges because of what they went through. And the fact that you were there for them,
Mm-hmm.
I salute you as a parent. That's not easy, and
Nope.
I'm sorry that you had to go through what you had to
Mm-hmm.
go through. But look at you now. Look at
Absolutely.
how strong you are now,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you have a bigger
Mm.
purpose. And I'm just glad that you're here to share that with everybody. And I wish you good luck with whatever purpose you have.
Mm. Thank you.
Beautiful. How are the kids now? How old are they, or something like that? How
Yeah.
old are they now?
Yeah. So my daughter is 20. My
Okay.
son, that's in treatment still, and he'll be coming
Okay.
home soon. He
Oh,
turned 16
okay.
in a
Is he in
month.
a residential or
Yep,
something?
yep, he's in
Yeah.
a residential treatment. And then
Okay.
our other son is 15.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I wish you good luck, and I just savor every moment that you have with your kids because they grow up
Absolutely.
so fast.
They
They
do.
grow up so
They do.
fast. All right. Thank you. So let's talk about balancing your role as a parent to your son and three adopted children with your global mission. I know they're older now, as a coach, speaker, and entrepreneur. I'm sure everything must come with its own challenges, even if you're okay now. So, Devin, how has your family shaped your journey? I mean, to add to it, if you want. And what lessons have you learned about balancing your personal relationships with
Yeah.
a purpose driven career?
Yeah. Yeah, one of the main reasons why I do what I do is because I can travel whenever I
Okay.
want. I can go and I can speak and I can do my coaching all on my computer. And I can do it on my phone if I want to. I bring my laptop everywhere that I go. When I go and visit my other kids, they're about 3.5 hours away. I
Okay.
literally sit it on my friend's table. I put two shoe boxes that are there. I put it on top, and that's my office for the day. And
Yeah.
so I get the opportunity to be able to do that. And then I get to also spend the weekend with my son when he's
Okay.
able to. And so I go and visit my kids for 4 or 5 days a month in a row. And so I get to be able to travel and do that. I get to be able to have my son whenever I want to be able to. I get to travel and go and speak all over the United States. And it's amazing opportunity to be able to do that.
Yes.
I also get to travel and be able to help other people do what they want to be able to do in person. Now, if I had a normal 9 to 5 job, I wouldn't
Yes.
be able to do that. And the part that I love the most is a part of what I'm building isn't just for me to be able to build a brand of what it looks like for 20 years. What I'm building is I'm building a brand that my kids are already a part of. They help
Right.
with the editing, they help with creating the videos.
Oh,
We're doing all this content creation stuff together,
wow.
teaching them entrepreneurial skills. And so it's not just about me and what
Yes.
I want to be able to have. And I want it to be in 40 years that my kids all are taking over this entire coaching program, this entire movement of what it looks like to be able to share stories and help people get to where their message is taking them. And they get to have that chance because, as you know, working with kids and working with people in the foster care system, a lot of times they struggle with keeping a job and
Yes.
may not be able to get and be able to hold a job. And so, one of my passions that I'm working towards is to be able to help foster and adoptive kids that have come up through the system to be able to teach them entrepreneurial skills so that they
Wow.
can have a successful dream of living and living life successfully, because it's not that they can't hold a job, it's that their creativity is different
Right.
than what other people's may be. And so we get to learn how to hone that in for them and help them turn their creativity
Yes.
into a passion, which will turn it into a purpose, which will create profit for them.
And it's not just you're developing their creativity, you're developing skills, functional skills to become an entrepreneur or
Mhm.
to become who they want to be. And it doesn't have to be just on the creative part, which is definitely good, but they can enter any other kind of field. But it's the skills, it's the determination, it's the hard work that you're actually teaching, and you being there is like a role model for them.
Mhm.
I mean, especially that you are a foster parent,
Mhm.
adoptive parent to a
Mhm.
foster child. That means a lot to kids who grew up in the foster home, because
Yeah.
at some point they want to be able to feel secure, stable, because they know that they like you're really making a difference to like this foster family, to the foster kids, because just having some permanency or normalcy by being
Mhm.
adopted, that's big. That's
Mhm.
big. And then on top of that, you're actually developing them into becoming better.
Yeah.
And that's huge, because like what I said, I see firsthand their struggles as a young child. So in
Mhm.
order for you to really cultivate whatever strength that they have in order to become better, that's a big mission that you're doing. Wonderful. Thank you for that. um, It's just because I'm a teacher. Like whenever you talk about youth or kids, like I would cry when I feel when I meet somebody who's really doing something beautiful for the kids, because
Yeah.
they are our future. They are gonna lead us, and um, it's not being just rich or super successful. What you want, teaching them how
Mhm.
to start from scratch, just
Mhm.
developing what they have inside of them. That's really really beautiful, Devin. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And um, yeah, you talk about your kids, which is what drives your career, right? What
Mhm.
drives your everyday life. Like you, like I did leave the profession, field of education, and I'm now more of a public figure. It hasn't been long. It's only been maybe like 6 months. And it's a significant career shift for me. And with my growing social media presence and at the heart of everything that I do, Devin, they are my motivation, just like you. They're my anchor and
Mhm.
the reason I push myself to succeed. So when I decided to put myself out there on social media and in public speaking, I realized early on that my actions could affect my children.
Mhm.
Especially they're teenagers.
Yeah.
They're like, "Mom, you're not gonna be on Instagram." In the beginning, they tried to like unfollow me or block me because it's teenagers, right? And they're still young.
Yeah.
So so from there, I always tried to protect them from
Mhm.
unnecessary scrutiny by my followers. So, for example, I've limited sharing personal pictures of my family on social media because I want them to have a sense of privacy and normalcy. And whenever I post or I speak, I do it with them in mind. I
Mhm.
would always ask myself, will this make them proud? Am I
Yeah.
showing up in a way that reflects my values, their values that I've taught them? So everything that I do, whether it's my podcast, speaking engagements, or creating courses, because I'm also creating digital courses, is to secure a better future for them.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's not always easy to balance it all like you, but I've learned to prioritize. I ensure
Mhm.
I'm present for my children while pursuing my career.
Yeah.
And my success is their success. And I want them to see that, everything is possible with hard work,
Mhm.
resilience, and faith. Right?
Mm. Yeah. Absolutely. I always tell when we talk about parenting, and I always tell people that we shouldn't be focused on raising our kids. And people are like, "What?" I said,
Mm-hmm.
"No, we should be focused on raising our grandkids." Because the way that you raise your kids is so key in how they will raise their children.
Their own kids. Yes.
And so the example that you set, the legacy that you leave, is truly remarkable when you see it through that lens of see the next generation of what's going to happen.
And it's all about role modeling, really.
Hmm.
Just being and no, and just being present.
Yep.
The fact that you're there for them in however way you show it, because like every parent has a different job or different role or different circumstances. Just they know, the kids know how much you value them and
Yep.
how much you can offer them when it comes to your presence, especially you move a lot, but I'm sure they value whenever you're there for them. And the
Hmm.
fact that you're involving them in your business, that's big. That's really
Yeah.
big. I wish I could do the same thing for my kids. You know, they're still in college and they're very driven. They're very hardworking. They're excelling. And that's me. That's my pride. The
Yeah.
fact that they have big dreams for themselves,
Yeah.
especially now, I'm a single parent and I don't have to worry about them. We help each other, in a lot of ways. And I think that's my fulfillment as a parent, knowing that my kids are driven to succeed.
Hmm.
And just simply, looking at their mom
Yeah.
and you.
Absolutely.
Right. So, all right. So, Devin, when I started the podcast, I never really okay, imagined that it would be big. Okay. Like I wasn't getting any speaking engagement. So I'm like, let me start a podcast. Maybe then, because I just started with my speaking engagement. I had nothing in my portfolio. So I said, like, maybe I'll start a podcast so that I can have something for them to see how I speak, right? I thought it was just for portfolio purpose.
Hmm.
And I thought that it's just a way for the organizers to see and connect with audiences. But after a few months, maybe 4 or 5 months that I've been doing this, and what, 40 something episodes, it became so much more than just a professional tool. I began to truly embrace each episode.
Hmm.
Especially, I never thought I'd meet you with a wonderful mission. So whenever I have a guest, I make sure that, you know, we learn from each other, and
Hmm.
that every guest will leave feeling impacted, like there's something, that they would leave the podcast saying that, hey, it changed me, or
Yeah.
something like that. And I've been lucky because I've had guests who, right after being a guest here, started their own podcast, and they would even do a shout out saying that because of Candice Ruggiero, I felt empowered, I felt embraced, that I started my own. And there are some who, like, looked at my life experiences and said, hey, she can do it, I can do it too, started their own business. So I'm just saying that what you and I are doing when it comes to using our voice
Hmm.
to inspire others really is big. And that's why you and I should not stop speaking, because one, two, three will resonate with you. And that's all that matters.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. All right. Let's talk about the next topic, which is, let's talk about your thriving business.
Hmm.
Um, so you built this thriving business while helping people achieve their dreams. Now,
Hmm.
transitioning from your corporate career into entrepreneurship must have been a big leap. So I know you talked about your inspiration, but do you want to add more to really what inspired you to take that step? Like moving, add more to what you said. And how do you keep your passion alive?
Yeah. It's pretty. I know it sounds pretty blanket, but it's pretty simple. It's this right here.
Oh, are those your kids?
Those are my kids
Can
when
you
we
tell
had.
me their names? Can
Yeah.
you put it up again?
It's
Can you tell me their names? Oh,
Kayla, Jacoby, and Malachi.
oh, wow, beautiful, beautiful.
Yes. So I carry that with me everywhere that I
Oh,
go. And it's so important. But I think it's also important that there's two reasons why businesses aren't successful.
okay.
Number one is the people have no clarity. They have no clarity as to who they are reaching. And that starts with, for me, it's my kids. Now, everybody can say, well, yes, I want it to be my kids. But it's not just my kids.
Yeah.
It's that figure of who is around me. Who is around me? My kids are now not just my physical kids, which is my main priority, but they're all the followers that I have. We create
Yes.
I have created this tribe of people that are attracted to me, that want to be able to pull on the things that God is doing in my life. They want to learn how to speak. They want to learn how to use social media. How do I build my business? Those are important. And so, whenever I get into the pits or I don't know what I'm going to do, I reach out to people that are there for me, that I know have the best interest for me. I
Mm-hmm.
have my own coaches. Coaches have to have coaches. If you don't have
Yes.
coaches, you shouldn't be a coach yourself.
Yes.
But it's so important to have different circles of influence that you have in your life. And so I always have that circle of influence of people that I allow to speak into my life. And then I have those others of friends, of followers, of clients, all those other people. They can say what they want. I don't really care what they say. I get people that speak life into me and can pick me up when I do have those rough times and bring me back to that clarity. Now, the second reason why businesses don't succeed is because of leadership. You are
Okay.
just a bad leader. And that's nothing against you. You just haven't
Yes.
been trained. You haven't been taught. You haven't caught it yet. And so, if you find out that you can have clarity, and if you find out how to be a better leader, then you will have a successful business. And so,
Yes.
those things, you surround yourself by those who can help you go and those that can help you grow, and
Right.
so that your flow will always continue moving forward. And so I've surrounded myself with some of the most amazing people. Some people nobody's ever heard of, they don't have a name, and that's okay. That's how they want it.
Yes.
Some people have been on stages with 40 million people, and it has been amazing to be able to learn and have them pour into me. And it's been great. But if you don't have those types of relationships, you may not make it through the entrepreneurial journey that I've been on, especially these last 3 years. Reality TV shows, big stages, and coaching from top to bottom. The number one thing that entrepreneurs tell me is this is a lonely road. And I just look at them and I feel bad because I don't
They
feel
don't have connections. Yeah.
at all. And that is the purpose. That is what keeps me going, is because I have a tribe of people that are counting on me. I have a legacy that is not going to the grave with me. I have a message that people have to have pulled out of them, because the number one thing that can go wrong with people's messages is that they take it to the grave with them. No,
Right.
no, we can't allow their messages to die with them. And I
Right.
will not stop until every single person that I know gets their story out there, because somebody is waiting to hear it.
Yes. Yes, that's also the reason why I specifically made this series, Men Making a Difference, because um the past podcasts that I've had, they were mostly women with wonderful stories. So when I started this series, I am just in awe of how many men have stories to tell, and they just sometimes need an avenue or a place to share it. And um you don't know the impact that you have on others if until you give them a chance
Mm-hmm.
to share it. And it's such a wonderful experience having, like just hearing everyone's story, because in every story there's always a lesson in it. There's and Men are just so wonderful when they put their passion and heart into it. And you still have that image where in but no, there's a lot of things going on in them. You just have to like a little bit like tap into them, to each and one of them, and you'll be surprised how their stories can actually impact lives.
Yeah.
Leaving the field of education was a hard decision for me, and I love teaching and I love empowering children, but I had a bigger purpose. Just like you, I didn't want to leave behind everything I've learned in education. That's why I put up this global education connection firm, and my mission really is to, for the educators all over the world, in however way I can reach them, to be empowered. Because like, I've been educated here in the United States, 30 years of experience in the field of education. So I kind of consider myself master in teaching, not just because I've been there. It's because I've really been there for my students, their families, and my colleague, and I just don't want to put it to waste. And coming from the Philippines myself, I know how important, like there's some, like I am in the good part of the Philippines, but when you look at a lot of the places there, you'll find kids just walking around in fields and like farm with no education. And it just broke my heart when I saw them when I went to visit 4 years ago. This mission that I wanted actually started 4 years ago when I visited.
Wow.
And that time I didn't have the resources, I didn't have the money, I didn't have the time, because I was still employed, yet I already wanted to do something. But I guess it wasn't time. You know what I mean? Sometimes there's time, the right time for everything.
Right.
And you know so now that I have the opportunity, that's the reason why I'm doing this, because I don't want any child left behind when
Yeah.
it comes to literacy, when it comes to education, because education is so important.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so I just wanted to quickly share. There was last year as a teacher, we had to get rid of a lot of books. When I tell you a lot of books, tons of book, for what, because of whatever purpose we had to, and had to throw it away. It's a school. We had to, like, books that I paid for, books that I collected for 30 years, I had to throw them away because of, I don't want to mention why, but because of like what's going on. And because I was crying inside, because kids from other countries will do anything to
Mm-hmm.
have literacy, to learn, and we are just throwing away books. So I will try to find those books again. I will find a way to put books in every home. I'm not saying every, but whoever I can
Yeah.
reach to, that's my purpose. Or maybe come up with like an online program where I can just they can just turn on whatever if they have access, and they can see me teach and learn from whatever I can provide them. And like people like you and I, we have big dreams for others, and I don't think anything is impossible if we have that passion in us,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Um, I hate to end this. It's too fast. So, whenever I have a guest, I always ask them if there is a concept, a quote, or idea that you'd like to your audience to remember you with. What would that be, Kevin, for you? Devin, sorry.
It's all right. Uh, for me, I want all of your listeners to recognize that you are a leader. A leader is somebody that looks behind them and somebody is there. And so every single person listening and watching this is a leader. And I believe that every leader is called to be a legend. A legend is somebody that makes a big influence on people's lives and makes a difference. And I believe that every legend is supposed to leave a legacy. And a legacy is something that's passed on from generation to generation to generation. And one of the things, the last thing that Jesus told me as I was laying in my bed was that you will not take your legacy with you to the grave. Your
You have
legacy
to share it.
starts right now. And every single one of you has the opportunity to start your legacy right now.
It's beautiful. And when you are a leader, you're simply impacting lives.
Mm-hmm.
You're not up there, you're not working, you don't want people working for you, but you want people working with you
Mm-hmm.
because of a mission. And I believe that what a wonderful reflection that you left behind, that you're leaving to to the viewers. Devin, is there any other thing that you want to, before you wrap up, like you want to invite them to your website? How can they reach you, or how can they be influenced and impacted by you? How can they do that?
Yeah, I have a book, and it's
Mhm.
called Create from man, what is it? Create Better Stories. I've
Oh,
been
I
working on
love
a lot of
that.
things.
I will get that. Is it on
Yeah.
Amazon?
It's createbetterstories.com, and you can get it there. It teaches you frameworks on how to be able to create your story, how to be able to create it so it's engaging, and it's just very powerful because stories can be good and
Yes.
stories can also be great. And I want to help people make great stories.
That's a quote. That's a quote. I love what you just said. Who do you coach, by the way? Just curious.
Who do I coach?
Yes. Do you
Yeah,
coach
I
speakers? Other than your youth, who
Yep, I
else?
coach speakers, I coach entrepreneurs, I coach people that are just aspiring to be leaders, and really help them to get to the next level on stages with opportunities of networking and social media.
All right. So when I usually share our podcast to multiple social media pages, I want to make sure that I include your links to everything that you have so I can share it with them.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right. So I just want to say thank you. I'm grateful to have shared this time with you, Devin. And to our viewers, intentional excellence is more than just a phrase. It's a lifestyle and mindset that can transform not only our lives, but the lives of those around us. For those of you looking for more guidance, support, and resources to help you on your journey, I invite you to visit my website, www.candiceruggiero.com. You can also follow me on all my social media platforms, Linktree/Candice Ruggiero, and learn more about my upcoming events and offering. Let's continue to move forward with purpose, with power, and with the knowledge that we all are capable of achieving greatness, just like our guest, Devin. Until the next time, stay intentional, stay excellent, and keep making a difference. See you on the next episode of the Intentional Excellence Podcast. Thank you so much, Kevin. Have a good night.
Thank you.